Okay, so now we have established how to get your ideal brow shape, but we need to also talk about how to create your perfect brow for every day. Because let's be real, like our natural brows aren't necessarily the brows that we want framing our face. So I know mine aren't. Mine do not look like this in real life. They're very sparse, so I do need to fill them in. For the sake of time, I'm not going to show you how to do that right now. I probably will in the future, and then you can see how different I look with sad, droopy, tiny little brows. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things to kind of get this whole thing started. First things first, I think it's really important to understand the kind of hair that you have for eyebrows. And I never would have thought this before until I started doing other people's makeup. And then I realized how absolutely different my brows are than most people. Like to the point where I actually get surprised if I find somebody who has similar brows to mine. And I just mean like the type of hair. Like my eyebrows are like the same type of hair that my eyelashes are, or like my natural hair is, not like my arm hair, which is like blonde and fuzzy. So most people I found have like really light and fuzzy and like fluffy brows, which I think is fabulous. But I've learned that you have to treat them totally differently when it comes to everyday like prepping and stuff like that. For me, because I have such kind of like coarse, thick brows, I don't have a lot of hair, but the hairs I do have are much coarser than a lot of other people's. I have to use a wax, and this is like the Anastasia brow kit thing. And it comes with a wax, it's sticky. But it's a lot different than a gel, which is like this. This is gross looking because it has like all this color in it from when I do my brows. But this gel is actually quite thin. It's like a clear mascara. I mean, it's kind of like the consistency of a really thin hair gel. So it would work really, really well for people with really kind of like baby soft hair. So like on my arms, it really like pulls the hair and keeps it in place. If I just do this, I know it sounds really weird, but it kind of mats it down and keeps the hair going in the same direction. Whereas on my brows, it does nothing. It has no effect on my brows whatsoever, but the wax does because it's thicker and denser. And like can control the hairs better. So first things first, you really need to learn what kind of hair you're dealing with. So from there, you also may affect the products you use to fill in your brows. So I would suggest somebody who has kind of like baby soft eyebrow hair probably would like to use a powder, like a shadow, because I think it would look a lot more natural. So you can do like a regular brow powder. Anastasia makes a bunch. I'm not even sure. I think like, I know Ardell makes them. A lot of people do. But then you also have the option of just using like matte shadows. And these are from MAC. I have like, this is kind of like my neutral palette. But I have like from really dark to, this is kind of like the cinnamony color that I use now. I believe it's called Saddle. And then this is like a red, I forget what this is called, brown script. Sometimes I use this because my hair has like a little bit of a red tint to it now to fill in my brows. But I think powders like shadows would be really, really the best for somebody who has really light hairs. For me, because I have more like dense, coarse eyebrows, something like a pencil, just like a regular eyeliner pencil or eyebrow pencil. This one's just Maybelline. I know MAC makes a couple of really good ones that are really tiny, so you can kind of draw hairs on. They're really good. Anything with like some sort of like substance, like a creamy texture, is really good for filling in brows like mine that are kind of, you know, tougher. I don't know. And so lately what I've actually been doing, this is a tip I got from Candy Johnson, who's here on YouTube. She's adorable. She's been using Quite Natural paint pot to fill in her brows. And basically it's just a like chestnutty colored matte cream eyeshadow. And it works for a base for your shadows. It's lovely and perfect. And I got it while I was in Heathrow because they are out all over the place in the US. But anyway, I use this with just like a little tiny like one of these brushes, or actually this has kind of been my favorite. It came with like a hip, L'Oreal hip thing. I don't know. So I put that on there, and then I just like fill in my brows kind of quickly. And it works the best for me. I also recommend using some sort of like a stiff brush. This one's not as stiff as this. This is like really, 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 really stiff. So this kind of gives me like really good definition and control, and creates like really, really nice lines. Both of them do a really good job, but when you're like using a powder or a shadow or something like that to fill in your brows, make sure you're using something with like a flat, straight edge. And that is something that you have like control over. Kind of a fluffy brush will make the powder go all over your face and it will look weird, so don't do that. And then just to kind of, after your brows are filled in, no matter which way you choose to do them, use some sort of like a spoolie brush. And this was like super cheap. You get like a million of them in like a little pack at like Sally's or a beauty supply store of any kind, or you can pick some up at Sephora or Ulta or wherever else. Basically, and then you just can like brush through your brows before you're ready to go, and you can brush all the hairs into place. And if you put too much color on, using something like this will pull off enough, but it will still leave your brows looking really nice and defined. So yeah, let's see, what else can I talk about? Okay, I guess another thing to talk about is when you're filling in your brows, you kind of have some leeway to play with your shape a little bit, which is really nice, because if you're not 100% sure if you want a really defined angle to your arch, or if you want like a softer look, you can change all of that with powders and pencils. And you can also do a lot to change the proportions of your brow. There's this thing called the golden ratio, which I know people are not going to be a fan of, but basically it kind of divides your face up into regions, proportions that are flattering, and I guess universally loved or something. And the proportions are that, for your eyes at least, are that your eyes should be as wide as the width between your two eyes. So it should be kind of like split into thirds. And personally, I'm crazy and subconscious about this. My eyes are smaller than this area. I know it's not by much, I get it, whatever. But because I am self-conscious about it and I don't want to make my eyes appear too far apart, I bring in my brows by about 1 millimeter or 2, kind of on each side. And by doing this, I think it pulls my face a little bit together more. I think it kind of narrows my face, makes it look a little bit more thin. So you can kind of fix proportions like that. My brows also stop short, so a lot of times I can pull the line out and get a better looking brow. So you can do all of that with powders, even if that's not necessarily your natural brow shape. And then you can also play with your arch. Either you can follow this line and go into a soft slope downwards, kind of like I have now, or you can make it really defined and create a really like intense point and drag it down. You can also do the same with the top by filling in this outside corner in a kind of like, I don't know, like 45-degree angle. Is that too much? I don't do math, but yeah. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, so those are just like some things you can do to play around with your eyebrows to get them to look their best. But yeah, I think that is it. If you guys have any more questions about brows, or if you'd like me to take some time to film it in on camera, let me know. Anyway, there are tips and tricks and everything else, kind of everything you've ever wanted to know about eyebrows ever, on my blog, which is seriesofexperiments.com. Feel free to check it out. Yeah, you can also like leave comments there and ask for advice on different things if you want. Anyway, I hope that you all are doing well, and I hope this was helpful, at least in some capacity. I wish you guys the best. I'll see you later. Bye.